Really low overall. Okay. And right now, is it working? Not working? Messed up? Damn, I didn't want kind of problems coming from here. And we have problems. No echo? Yes! 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 Woohoo! So we are going to kick off. At least the problem was easy to solve. Damn, live streaming is hard. Live streaming is really, really hard. So yeah, thank you very much for helping me. ML, Grace and Unwelcome, you already helped me a lot with these. So we do not have double audio right now. We are going to go straight into this episode. So if you have any questions, you may leave those questions in the chat. I will be answering those. And let's start going through some of your comments and actually answering some of the things that you shared with me in the survey. So we have in here, and let's start with ML. So I know that you are here in the chat, so it's going to be a direct answer to you. But when it comes to getting comments from you about what I'm doing and what the SEIYUU Lounge podcast means to you, I've got a couple of comments really, really nice in the survey. So I'm going to read some of those, not all, but some of those. And first off, we have ML saying that I don't have any questions, so I just want to say thanks for all you do. Thank you very much for watching the content that I create, really. The news and the out this week are really helpful or useful to keep track of everything. I try to follow the official sources, but not knowing Japanese, it's harder. The reviews are really interesting to read. They make me appreciate more the songs I like and the songs I don't. They help me understand why. Then the YouTube content to listen to your rambling and sometimes ramble myself. It's nice to have a place to talk about SEIYUU music. So again, thanks and congratulations on the 200th episode. Here's to more SEIYUU Lounge. Cheers, really. I only have water here to celebrate, so I'm going to celebrate with water. So cheers, really. But yeah, thank you very much for sending the comment, ML. Nice and kind of you to follow the content that I am creating, and especially for going the extra mile and becoming a patron. I know this is not something that is easy to do, and sometimes to actually support channels and people creating is not that easy, because not everyone has the means to support other projects and things like that. So I really appreciate you actually following not only the content that I create, but also becoming a patron. It helps a lot to cover expenses and everything else. And of course, with you checking the content, rambling with me, coming to the comments to talk with the community, talk with me, it's always something that puts a big smile on my face. It really makes it worthwhile to create content, and being here and knowing that other people just like me really geek about music, really geek about 2D music projects, and even SEIYUU come here to talk with me about that, and getting really geeky and into the little details about what we love. This is a safe space, so you really can ramble all you want about what you want, and, well, let's say, if it's related to male SEIYUU and to the music, of course. Other topics I may not be that knowledgeable to talk about, of course. So yeah, thank you very much, ML, for sending the comments. It's really kind of you, and especially for being a patron. It helps going the extra mile, it helps the channel, it helps the website being up and running. So thank you very much for all you've been doing for this channel and this project as a whole. Really appreciate you. And then we are going to Jeannie, which I believe I've seen this name before, but I don't recall when. It may have been during a review advent calendar episode, I believe, but this is a rare name to find in the comments. But still, Jeannie says, thank you for your amazing channel. You helped me gain an ear or find out more about music with SEIYUU in it or their music careers. You give honest opinions about each one without a bias, and continue to support and look forward to all their music that is released. Continue to do them, as they make me happy every time. Thank you very much, Jeannie. I I may know you from the review advent calendar episodes, I believe, but I haven't seen you in the comments. But thank you very much for coming and leaving a nice message. This channel was created basically during the pandemic, when I thought, well, it's as good a time as any to create video content, because I wanted to create video content, but I still didn't know how I would create video content for this channel and how I would present what I create in video format. So this was kind of an experiment, and I really wasn't expecting so many people to actually end up following this channel and the podcast itself. It's a lot of people, and it still blows my mind that you actually follow what I create and engage with what I create, and even come here to celebrate the 200th episode with me, someone you don't even know in person. So this is really, really awesome, and it really puts a big smile on my face, as you can see. But yeah, about the reviews. My focus here when I write a review is to not only geek about what I love, but also show you that there's so much awesome things going on in a song, in a performance, beyond just the performance. You have everything going in the background about the composition. You have the how you got into that composition, the how behind the story. You have the way the performer is performing a song, the techniques that they use. You have so much going on in there, but usually people kind of pigeonhole the whole performance into something simple. It's just a performance, but no, there's much more to that. And I want really, when I write the reviews, I want to show you that there's so much more to that. So much more that you can enjoy. When you listen to a song, you can focus on different elements. You can focus on different sides of the composition. You can even notice little details in the way that the singer is performing. And those things, I believe, are not that or talked as much as they should be. And I feel that my focus here, not only am I geeking, but I also want you to notice those things and appreciate music all the more. And I feel that I make that point come across, which is really, really awesome. I see you, Jeannie. I see you in the comments. Now I know who you are. Now that I've seen your photo, I know who you are. I've seen you in the comments, really. So thank you very much, Jeannie, for sending this amazing message, and welcome to this live stream. It's awesome to see you as well in the comments. This is kind of awesome to be reading your comments and actually seeing you in the live stream right by my side, which is really, really cool. So yeah, thank you very much for sending this kind message and for following the content. And also I think that the reviews that are going to come are going to be even better than the ones that I've wrote before. So I have high expectations even for my writing in some way and for the way that I interpret songs. So I hope that the next reviews that you check are really, really awesome, and that can open doors for you to find new things, discover new little details in the background, and to appreciate music and 2D groups and male SEIYUU all the more. So thank you very much for sending in the comment. Once again, for those that arrived a bit late, I'm basically accepting any type of questions that you may leave in the live chat. I'm going to answer those as well. This is not only me reading things that were sent to me. I'm going to actually reply to you in the comments, so feel free to leave any questions that you want. I will be going and answer those as soon as I'm done with this specific little part in this live stream. So next we have Faustus, and now this is really a name that I don't know about unless you have changed your handle, and that way I do not know who you are. But Faustus says, thank you for all the SEIYUU infos that you share and organize. I've learned so much about SEIYUU because of the hand at THTFHQ, and have sympathized and been awed by their resilience and skills much more as a result. Thank you for your hard work. Yeah. This is coming in the exact same thing that I was saying a couple of minutes ago. It's that my focus is on showcasing first how tricky it is to get into voice acting in Japan. It is really tricky. And the more you study, the more you read about what SEIYUU write about it, or what SEIYUU actually tell in interviews, you understand that it's really, really hard to get into voice acting in Japan. There's a lot of hurdles to overcome to actually become a seiyuu. And we are talking about just becoming a seiyuu, not becoming a seiyuu that earns money, not becoming a seiyuu that is everywhere, or not becoming a seiyuu that is a superstar. So those are completely different stages in their careers, and it is really hard to start and to get that golden opportunity to do something as a voice actor. So I like to, from time to time, check what you are saying about the industry, how they get in or they got into the industry, the difficulties that they faced in the industry, and especially now it is becoming quite interesting coming from veteran seiyuu when they talk about how the industry has changed so much that they no longer feel that it is easy to become a voice actor, because now you're not just a voice actor. You're a voice actor, a singer, an author, a designer. You are basically doing everything. So it is much more intensive and much more demanding than it was back then. So you see that happening, and those are really interesting things that I like to pick and talk about, because not many people pay attention to that, and they only see the glitter, the glamour. They see some seiyuu appearing on magazines and going on international tours for anime series, and then they forget what is behind and how far they had to come to arrive at that place. So it is good to look and basically pay attention to the roots, see where everything started, and follow the path of each individual seiyuu, or follow their path basically as a whole, as an industry. So this is really awesome to check. Right now there are kind of interesting things to talk about. For example, AI is a big talk among male seiyuu. I know that Yuki Kaji has been talking about that a lot, especially now that they created a sort of an AI. And Junichi Swabe also has really interesting takes on AI as well. So I may be talking about AI soon, because I'm finding this topic really interesting, and it is scary at the same time, because it may end up messing up things about voice rights and performance rights and everything else that basically earns money to seiyuu. So these are kind of interesting topics to talk about and to cover. What I've done before is to cover how seiyuu got in the industry, their struggles, how they view the industry right now compared to when they started. Those are really, really awesome things to talk about. And to sometimes put our feet on the floor instead of dreaming and seeing things in more, I should say, in a different perspective. Seeing as they are, not with all that glitter around. It's not easy to become a voice actor, and they really, really do a lot to become voice actors. I can only imagine the hell that some seiyuu went through to actually get their golden opportunity. Seeing as some were living under a bridge, or basically sleeping on the sofa in someone's house. They were doing several part-times to actually have money to pay their bills, because voice acting wasn't paying them enough. So there's a lot to talk about. But some of these talks are only rumors at times. Some of these talks are confirmed, but we do not have any specific sources to actually corroborate that, and I don't want to basically be saying something that may not even end up being truth. So, but it is something that really is being said, that it's not easy to start, and I like to sometimes show you that there's something else to that glitter. There's something behind. We only see the good parts, but there are bad parts going on. And some seiyuu are really vocal about talking about those parts. I'm seeing a comment by Unwelcome. Unwelcome, you are saying, recently Kaji Yuki had been doing streaming about his synth voice and explaining things about it. Yeah, it's exactly that. I believe a couple of minutes ago he was live on X or Twitter, and he was using the synthesized voice, which is basically an AI. And this is something that is crazy, but I will say something about this. Yuki Kaji may be one of the smartest seiyuu out there. Really, he's a businessman with a really good mindset. Because, hear me out, he was one of the very first seiyuu to actually write a book and sell a lot with a book. He was actually one of the very first seiyuu to jump from being a seiyuu to being basically an actor, a live actor, which is crazy. And he's been successful in both sides. And he's actually now going to the forefront of AI because he's seeing AI as a threat. And what does he do? He creates his synth voice, he licenses it. So with it licensed, what can he do? He can sell his voice. So people can no longer create his voice in AI because it is copyrighted. So he's done a stroke of genius in here because he has safeguarded his voice to avoid people misusing his voice. And either you have his official voice because you paid him to actually voice something, or you paid to use his synthesized voice, and you can use that for as long as you pay. But that's licensed to him, he gets the royalties, he gets the money. And he's really, really a good businessman in that case. I'm seeing him as really one of the smartest seiyuu out there because of that. He's always one step ahead when it comes to the business. This is really, really impressive. And he's actually safeguarding his career because he's not getting younger. He's almost in his 40s. So he wants to ensure that even when he's really, really old and maybe cannot give his voice to characters anymore, people can still have his voice, which was recorded in his 30s. Sounds young, is ready to use, is synthesized to use in whatever things you want. You just have to pay to use his voice. And he is ensuring that he is available as a voice actor even after death. This is crazy. This is really genius. And I believe this is something that really puts him ahead of everyone else in the voice acting industry right now, because he's safeguarding his career. And I find this genius, really genius. I really applaud him for that and for thinking ahead before AI turns into something really, really scary. He's already safeguarding his career. That's a stroke of genius. And yeah, Jeannie, you are saying AI is scary for the voice acting world. I'm worried about the future. If you've seen some of or heard some of the videos on Bilibili, the streaming platform in China, they already have synthesized Kaji's voice, Soma Saito's voice, and other couple of voices, and it is crazy how, I should say, how they sound almost like the real thing. It's crazy. People can do whatever they want with the voices of famous people without paying them for that. This is awful. Voice actors do not earn much. If they are, of course, superstars, they do earn a lot, and it will depend on what they do. But for starters, they do not earn much. And if people are synthesizing their voice and using in some other projects without paying them, this is going to create a crisis in voice acting in Japan. This is really, really dangerous. And I see these, I look at AI as a good thing, but for voice acting, these shouldn't replace voice actors. It should work to help them, not to take their jobs. And what I'm seeing is there are game studios using synthesized voices and AI voices to voice characters in games already. This is crazy because this takes jobs and makes it so that becoming a voice actor is no longer profitable in any way. And it is already not such a profitable endeavor professionally unless you become a superstar or you have a side job or you have a side project in some way. So yeah, it's really, really crazy. Yeah, this is really, really crazy. And when I look at some seiyuu, for example, the big stars that we have currently in the industry, we have Natsuki Hanae, we have Yuki Kaji, we have Mamoru Miyano. Who do we have as well? We have as well, in some way, Hiroshi Mono. We have big voices that if they have their voice synthesized, they won't be earning anything. So why not creating their own synthesized program or voice and save it for forever, basically? That's where Yuki Kaji is a genius. That's where I already admire him as a voice actor, and his business acumen is above many seiyuu in the industry. He's really, really smart when it comes to business. And this was a stroke of genius, really. Yeah, Unwelcome. I share the same sentiment. I hope that more seiyuu follow what Yuki Kaji is doing because it is scary. First of all, let's say, for example, we have, I've talked about this in the monthly review episode about Osoyo Yoshimasa's voice and the fact that he no longer sings like he did before he basically had a surgery because he was losing his voice. If he had, for example, created a synthesized voice before that happened, right now you could still hear him sing songs, although he can no longer do that. Is this crazy? Maybe, but somehow he could ensure that he would still be working in those projects, those music projects, Ensemble Stars, for example, and he wouldn't, or Ensemble Stars or Tskuta, he could be still in those projects, and even if his voice had suffered from any kind of issue, he would still be earning money off of those projects. Same thing with Tsubasa Yonaga when he was struggling a lot with dysphonia. If, for example, SEIYUU did a kind of synthesized voice when they were in a specific time in their career, he could have avoided facing those problems with not having his voice working as he wanted because he was struggling with the health problem, and his voice would still be earning him money without him straining his voice. That would be really awesome. So for cases like this, for example, to basically anticipate health issues or problems that may render a voice actor without their voice or without the voice as originally sounded, synthesizing a voice is really, really cool, and that's why I say that AI can be a good thing. AI can help with this and make sure that you actually have the voice safeguarded for the future in case you have or suffer from a specific problem, for example. So I see these as a really positive thing, synthesizing the voice and using AI, but only for specific cases. So this that Yuki Kaji is doing is kind of awesome and kind of smart. So I do give him his props because he's got that business acumen that very few voice actors have. So that's crazy. But I've already went on a big tangent. I believe this will turn into a small snippet about AI down the line for an episode. So this is really interesting to cover, and I will make sure to cover it because even Yuki Kaji gave an interview for NHK, a Japanese TV channel, and he talked extensively about AI. And in some way, Junichi Suabe has been talking about AI and how he sees that replacing their jobs in really dirty, weird ways. So that's really an interesting topic that I want to cover, but I need to do my research before I talk because I don't want to be spewing nonsense or things that are not as accurate as they should be. So what you got here is a bit of a snippet of what I think about AI and voice acting and how Yuki Kaji is really, really smart to the point that he safeguarded his career by synthesizing his voice. It's a genius move, and I really want more SEIYUU to actually do that to avoid health problems and in some way to ensure that they continue to get money even after they retire or even after death, so the money reverts to their family. So now that it was time for hydration, you can also grab a cup of water, a glass of water, and drink a little bit. Let's rest a bit. I've been talking a lot. It doesn't seem like it, but I'm talking a lot. But yeah, it is, as you said, and welcome, and as well, Ginny, this is a really interesting topic. I want to cover it, and I'm going to cover it. So this is something that came from Foster's comment. So thank you very much, Foster's, for sending the comment. And I went on a big tangent about AI because of you. So that's cool. At the same time, we have really a comment from Unwelcome. This is the last comment that I'm going to talk about in this section before I dive into the next section. And Unwelcome says, "Your work is admirable. I hope you keep doing it and always stay healthy." So, Unwelcome, as you may have noticed, I'm sounding a bit nasally today. I have been struggling with hay fever for the whole week. My voice is a bit messy and my throat is hurting a lot. But other than that, I'm healthy. So thank you very much for your wishes, and I really hope that the hay fever goes away because this is messing up my week completely. So yeah, thank you very much, and thank you very much as well, and welcome for always coming to the episodes listening and watching those with a lot of attention, and always and or almost always leaving a comment for me to stop, think, and even be inspired to create other episodes of SEIYUU Lounge. So thank you very much for being here and interacting with my content, interacting with the channel, and even interacting with other people in the community, which is really awesome. I've been starting to seeing that happening in the comments, people talking with each other in the comments, and it really puts a big smile on my face. A couple of weeks ago, I was checking the comments because I reply to all comments that I get, and I saw that I had a thread of comments about Skipro, and I was like, either people were triggered about something I said and then a discussion started, or I don't know, maybe we have spam in there. But then I noticed, and there was a really nice conversation going on between Unwelcome and I don't recall the other viewer, but there was a really nice conversation going on in there about Skipro. I believe it was ML. There was a really nice conversation going on in there in which they were exchanging information and talking about franchises, and I was really, really happy that, yeah, I'm kind of creating a community in here. This is not something that I was initially thinking about because it is hard to create a community, but it is really nice to see that kind of help going on between fandom, basically the community, let's say, and seeing you all helping each other and sharing information. These really put a big smile on my face. But I thought for a moment that I was getting either spam or people that were triggered about something that I did that I don't know why. But it happens sometimes, so that's why I was a bit worried about that. But yeah, yeah. Thank you very much, Grace, and as well as Jeannie. I'm trying to get well soon. I want it to happen soon because this is really messing me up. And yeah, it was because of the Skipro and Hanadol project. Yes, Unwelcome. It was exactly because of that. It was really nice to see that happening, to see people helping each other, because I'm not 100% of the time live to answer your questions or answer your comments. I do try to make it to answer every other week or every week when I have time. But it was really nice to see people coming forward and answering something that you had asked in there. And usually it is I answering those things, but it was nice to see a change and people getting basically hanging out and sharing information. It was really, really awesome to see. So that's something that makes me feel that I'm doing something really cool in here and that I'm creating a really safe community for everyone to talk about music, geek about music, be as crazy as they want about music, and just have fun. Basically, just have fun. That's a big reason why we are here. We love SEIYUU music, we love 2D music, we love to basically SEIYUU artists, and we are here to share our passion. Some of us are even here to learn, and others are here to teach. I always say that I'm here to learn and teach. I'm teaching what I have learned or read or studied, and I'm learning from you as well when you leave comments saying, but I saw something about these in a place, and I read something about these, and I watched an interview about that, and it is really awesome to get those kinds of inputs because I'm always learning. And this is not only me having monologues talking about what I know, it's also about learning from you, because I know a lot about SEIYUU, but I don't know everything. I believe no one does. And I know more about some SEIYUU than I know about others. That's a given. So it is really cool to have you in here, come and share your details about what you heard about something specific that I talk about in an episode, or your views about a specific song, or how you saw someone in the fandom sharing something about, for example, I didn't know that Lolody had used a real orchestra in their previous CD. I didn't know because I purchased the digital version. You don't have credits in there, and I didn't follow as closely the fandom or the composers or anything else to know that. And when people came to me, they were saying, that's actually a real orchestra. I know, I was blown away because when I was reviewing the song, I actually noticed that it was a real orchestra because it didn't sound as a synthesized type of orchestra. if you have a keen ear to that, you can understand when it is I'm going to say fake, but not fake, synthesized, used basically a plugin to mimic an orchestra but playing on a synthesizer. So you do not always notice that. And when I was reviewing, I was thinking, yeah, this sounds like a real orchestra, especially the drums. They sound like a real orchestra, and everything else that was going on in the strings. And someone, I don't recall who, went to the comments and said, well, this is a real orchestra. So yeah, I was blown away. So those little details that I miss are really fun to find in the comments. So it really, really is a good thing to have you hanging out, sharing information with me, leaving comments. I have already told you there's no wrong comments going on in here. You can leave any kind of comment. Of course, negative comments, offensive comments, I'm not a fan of those, and those will be deleted. But every time that you feel like you have a really interesting tidbit of information, you read something or you heard something in an interview or in a podcast or in a radio show, come share it with me, especially if you are adding a different dimension to what I said, because I'm speaking from a specific point of view, and you may arrive with different information that actually adds up or expands upon or basically changes a little bit of the narrative and makes it sound completely different or be a completely different thing. This is really cool to have. So I always welcome you coming to the comments and sharing what you know, because I'm always learning. So that's a big part of what I do, is learning and teaching and doing these on repeat. It is kind of fun. So I really, really like to have this happening. Yeah. Oh, I'm reading your comment, Ginny. It's amazing that your channel exists because I need somebody to talk about my interests with me. Yeah. It's almost like this. I started this as a monologue. I thought, yeah, if no one likes these, at least I'm talking, at least I am putting out everything that I know, and I'm ensuring that at least what I think is going to some place, regardless if people actually watch it or not. So I was initially monologuing. I didn't expect many people to actually pay attention or want to actually know my thoughts beyond what you read in the reviews. But yeah, it is really, really cool to have some way for us to talk about and geek about music in here. It is safe. I try to make it safe. Whenever there's really weird people coming, I try to make sure that they are not around for long. So yeah. Yeah, Grace, when I first interested into the music projects, your channel has helped me a lot, especially basic information. Thank you very much. You're welcome. That's really the main focus of the I wouldn't say the channel. The channel is an extension of the website, but that's the focus that I had for the hand that feeds HQ. When I created the project itself, the website, when it was still a blog, my focus was on, well, if I basically have fallen in love with male SEIYUU and 2D music in such a way, and I've searched back then in 2010, there were no websites about male SEIYUU music or male SEIYUU artists, or even 2D music. And I struggled a lot with Japanese. I didn't know any Japanese, so yeah, it was hard. I didn't know what I was watching, listening, anything. But I basically set a goal for myself. I'm going to create a place that I, as a fan, would love to visit to know everything about my favorite male SEIYUU, 2D music projects and artists. I'm going to create that place. Even if 1 or 2 people are the visitors on my website, I'm going to create that place, at least for me, as a record of what I love, and to keep my comments and my impressions about what I love in a specific place. It ended up reaching a lot of people. It's well known that the website has over 5 million views in 14 years, but I wasn't expecting any of that. I was expecting 1 or 2 people, and maybe 1 person to actually hate my guts because I write reviews about things that they don't like. That was my mindset at that time. So it was really, really crazy to actually start the website with that focus, and then seeing it grow. And then when the pandemic hit, I wanted to give back to you in some way. And I thought, how can I give back and be closer to the people that are actually helping this small website thrive? Even if the website doesn't earn any money from those ads that they had, basically I had running for years, I didn't get a penny. But yeah, the website ended up growing a lot in some way. Social media as well, although I don't pay that much attention to social media in a way. And then I thought, well, I want to give back. I want to create video in some way. And I always wanted to have my own radio show in which I listen to my favorite music and I share my favorite music to other people to actually become fans of that music. That's a really naive way of thinking, but that was my mindset at that time. I wanted to actually convert people to like what I like, which is crazy. But in some way, I wanted to show you the beauty of the music and the beauty of the art that is voice acting. So in some way, creating video and creating podcast episodes was my way of making that come to fruition, not as a written piece, but as something that you can interact with, as something that you can view, and as something that really, really makes you a bit, let's say, closer to me. And I feel that this creates a better connection than you just reading what I write. Because you get the reactions, you get a more laid back and not so carefully thought way of writing, because when I write, I need to have care about how I write, especially because I'm not a native English speaker. I'm fluent, but I'm not native, so I need to be extra careful about how I write, but also because I need the website to appear on search without paying for ads, because I don't have money for ads. So my focus in here is on creating content that really hits a specific threshold in terms of quality for Google, but also sharing my impressions without sacrificing the quality. But on video and on podcast, I can play around and be relaxed as I am now. So that's a bit of an interesting thing, because I was freaking scared about creating a YouTube channel. I was really, really scared about showing my face on camera. Really. I still am to this day, because I don't know how people are using the videos that I create. I don't know. If people are slandering me in the background, talking trash about me, I don't know. And this worries me a bit. Not as much as when I started, but it still worries me that people may take some things that I say out of context and basically create narratives for people to hate me. That's something that is always in the back of my mind. And I've talked with various content creators, small and big, and they always say that they feel the same, although they have to pretend they don't. So I've managed to live with it. But yeah, it's really cool that, going back to your point, that I created a place for everyone to actually be geeks about music and 2D music projects and Mail SEIYUU, because that's what I wanted to create for me. When I was in 2010 looking for information about my favorite Mail SEIYUU, back then it was Daisuke Ono, I didn't find much. There was barely anything out there written in English, and I wanted to know more. I wanted to understand more, and I didn't know anything, basically. So I vowed that I was going to do that. This was a naive way of thinking, but I think that in some way, 14 years later, I've managed to do a little bit of that. I've created a place for people, just like me in 2010, to find content about Mail SEIYUU in English, to be on top of the news. I try to keep on top of the news, not so much right now, to be on top of the news and to check reviews and know what my favorite SEIYUU are doing in a specific field, in this case, music, which is what I cover at the Hand That Feeds HQ. So this is really, really awesome. And I'm seeing a couple of comments in here, and welcome. Also, your reviews and content is a good source and reference to talk about how amazing are Mail SEIYUU. Indeed, they are. They are really amazing. And one thing that I say, and this goes to actually touch in a point that I'm going to talk in a bit is that we basically are supporting SEIYUU as professionals. And they are amazing as professionals, which is something that I really, really appreciate. ML says it's rare to see people outside of Japan making content about Japanese music in general, so it's really amazing to have one specifically for male SEIYUU. This is a really small niche. Whenever I try to explain what I do at the hand at THTFHQ, people always get with a face like this. What? And I can't really explain really well. It's about music performed by Japanese voice actors who turn into singers, and 2D music projects in which voice actors perform as characters. And people still don't know what this is, which is... I feel that Japanese music in some way has managed to reach international fans, but in some way there's still a bit of strangeness about voice actors performing as singers in their own name, or even 2D groups. I still find some resistance whenever I talk about that. That's why this channel is so niche. It's so small, and there's so very few people following in comparison with others that talk, for example, about anime and stuff like that. A pause for hydration, and as well, yeah. So I believe this concludes the first part about questions left from some of you in the survey. Oh, welcome, LL. I believe this is the first time that I'm seeing you here. It's a struggle to explain. I try to explain it, and this is something that is really funny when I go to job interviews and I say I'm a content creator, and people say, what do you create? Well, I create content on YouTube, and I have a website and a podcast. What is it about? It is about Japanese voice actors turned singers and 2D music. And they stare at me as if I just said something in a really strange language. I don't know how to explain this to everyone, because this, to me, is really easy to understand. But I believe there's not too much exposure about voice actors turned singers, which is to say artists and 2D music projects. Anime, he is actually expanding a lot, but 2D music is not following really the popularity and the fame that anime has. But yeah, Mel, if only they knew. I have a database and I have listed, this is not me kidding, and I'm going to take a print. I'm going to leave it here, a note. I'm going to take a print of my database to tell you how many 2D groups exist, or that at least have existed so far. I'm going to leave this here, of how many groups exist, because if I'm not wrong, I have in the list 365 groups. It's a lot. When people ask me, why am I not following the franchise A? I always tell them I'm already following over 40 different franchises. It's crazy. But yeah, there's a lot of franchises and even more groups. And there are franchises with so many groups that it's really hard to keep up and follow everything that is happening in there. But yeah, yeah, hello, LL. Yeah, I'm seeing you are debuting in the live, and this is the very first live, so you are doing a double interesting thing in here. No problem. If you are shy, I'm even shy, even shyer. I'm really shy. Doesn't seem like it, but I am. So feel free to actually engage in here. As you can see, the community is really awesome. You have some of the regular commenters in here. ML, you have Unwelcome. Jeannie in some way, I've seen Jeannie a couple of times. I was not remembering the name, but I remember the photo from Yowamushi Pedal. So yeah. But yeah, at this point, I see, yes, Jeannie, you make a really good point. At this point, people actually call J-pop everything. It's not completely right, but it's a better way to explain it. At least people already know, oh, but when you say J-pop, there comes a really big problem with that. People will say, oh, idols. That's not necessarily idols. There are rock bands in there as well, but yeah, it's really hard to explain. It's really, really hard to explain. So I really find that a bit of a struggle whenever I have to explain what I do and what I create, because people are always thinking this is some esoterical thing, or I'm making this up, or I just like anime. And usually I tell them I don't even watch anime. I don't have free time to do so. But yeah. Cheers, LL. Cheers for the double debut, yours and mine. So yeah, let's go to the next part, and I'm going to return to comments. Once again, leave your questions in the live chat. I'm going to answer your questions as well. But let's go to the next question. The next section. I'm following a script and still I'm messing this up. Yeah, so I have new things to show you, or to basically announce for the podcast, the website, and the channel in itself. Right now I'm going to read those because I will basically, I know those on top of my head, but I know that I'm going to forget something. So yeah, first off, the podcast, I'm going to bring those in-depth industry insights that I was talking about, the AI talk and everything else. I'm going to bring these to the podcast. I'm trying to find some time to write scripts. As you may have noticed, the last couple of episodes are freestyle. I basically pick the mic up and start talking, and then I edit and it's ready to go. I'm not following a script whatsoever. I'm having a lot of fun with those episodes because I don't have to write as much. But when I am editing those are hard to edit because I don't remember what I talked about, and I need to listen to the whole recording to edit it, and it takes a lot of time. So I'm trying to bring those insights, or the industry insights, back to the podcast, to shake little things up in here, to basically feature reviews, insights, and talk about specific projects that are making it big right now, or are going to make it big, or artists that are going to debut, and some things that I may want to talk about at a specific time. Then there will be CD reviews coming to the podcast. There are already CD reviews in some way coming to the podcast. Those episodes about the Let's Talk About a specific CD are basically episodes about me reviewing CDs on the spot. I am usually listening to the CD as I'm talking and recording it. It's a bit odd because sometimes, and especially I was finding that really odd and difficult for me, because I was listening, I remember, to Lodi's Addictive Whisper, and I was listening to the song, and I found myself drifting off. I was not talking, I was listening to the song. So it's a bit hard to record those episodes, so I'm going to do something a bit different. I'm going to listen to the CD after a long time, and then I'm going to talk about the CD. My question here, and right now it's a good time for you to actually engage with me in the chat, is: do you enjoy those types of episodes in which I talk about CDs? Just me talking about CDs without a script, those let's talk about whatever episodes. Let me know in the comments or in the live chat if you enjoy those episodes, or if you find that those episodes are a bit hard to keep up with and you would prefer in a different format. Let me know how or what you think about those episodes, because I'm trying to make something here to add reviews of old CDs or CDs that just dropped into the podcast, to in some way make people want to check those out. But I do have those restrictions. I can't show songs because Spotify, but I still want to talk about CDs, so I want to find kind of a middle ground in which it works for me and works for you. So let me know if you actually find those types of episodes interesting or not, or if I should basically stick to not bringing reviews to the podcast. So let me know that. And then we have something else. Last year I had the quarterly, we had the quarterly best CDs in a specific year. It was a feature in which I talked, for example, of the best CDs in the first quarter of 2023, and then I covered the second quarter and the third and the fourth. I found that those were really cool episodes in which I did a kind of a recap of what was released, but in another way I feel that it's not necessarily to talk about every 3 months about the CDs that were released. And I feel that I'm going to bring those, but as a half of the year review. So I'm working right now on an episode to drop in June about the best CDs in the first half of 2024. And in December, you will have, let's say in December, not necessarily because of the end year features, but in the last week of November, you will have an episode about the best CDs in the second half of 2024. Or maybe I put that episode in January because December is still the year. So yeah. I'm going to bring those back. Now, I'm seeing some comments about how unhinged are my episodes about the CDs, the Let's Talk About CD whatever. So this is good to find the raw opinions. Yeah. You know what I think, LL, is that most people do not want me rambling, but then again, I do not know exactly what people do like about those episodes, because when I check in here on the channel, the episodes about the CDs in which I review CDs, there are some exceptions, but those CDs those episodes actually end up not getting many views, which is a bit discouraging for me. But as long as you like, I'm continuing basically to create those. And yes, ML, you can tell I don't have a script. I go on big tangents in there. Yeah, a weekly episode is a lot of work. I may have already told you how long it takes to create an episode of the podcast. If I don't have a script, I just grab the mic and I record for 30 minutes. Then I have to edit the sound. It takes 1 hour. Then I need to create the visuals for that sound. I need to go to Canva or to Photoshop, and I need to create those graphics. Then I need to edit the video, and the video may take, it will take at least the 30 minutes of the episode to edit, and then my more 30 minutes on top of that to revisit the episode and see if there's anything going wrong in there. And sometimes there are mistakes still, and then I need to export it. So it ends up taking 4, 5, 6 hours sometimes to create one episode. And sometimes I don't have that time during the week, so I tend to record those in a batch, basically. When it comes to writing scripts, one script can take almost a day to write. If it has research, for example, those episodes that I'm going to write about AI, they may take 1-2 days to write, because I'm going to check interviews, watch videos, write the information, structure the information, write it in a way that works when I'm talking, and then I need to create everything else that I just said. So it may take even more time to create an episode of the podcast. But I have a lot of fun creating those podcasts. Oh, Bungee Gum, welcome to the episode. First time seeing you here, at least it is the very first time I'm seeing your name here. Welcome to the live stream. And so far I'm seeing positive insights about the episodes. It's good to see that. So I'm going to keep those episodes, but maybe I'm going to take the hint that ML gave me, and I'm going to make those a bit more straightforward instead of me diverging a bit and going on big tangents. Still, I do like to just talk about music and really have a conversation like I would have with basically a friend. That's how those episodes end up being. So yeah. Phone and welcome says, following my comment, but in the end I hear those episodes when I have time because they are good and interesting. So yeah, no problem. You have an earlier comment. I think are good episodes, but I don't always look those because there are cases where I haven't heard the songs, but at the same time it gives me the push to listen to it. For example, Kentito. Yeah, another struggle I have with that is how do I create those episodes. So I usually tend to choose CDs that already dropped a couple of years ago, but some I wanted so much to talk about those that I really ended up talking about them almost as they dropped. But if you are afraid of spoilers, and like myself, you really value your listening experience and you do not want any spoilers, you can ignore those episodes. But I still struggle to understand why those episodes don't do as well as other episodes of the podcast. But still, what really matters in here is that you want more of this unhinged type of conversation without a script, like today, for example. So this is good. And then, what do I have to add here? Yeah. Now, those were the informations about the podcast, the SEIYUU Lounge podcast. Now, to the channel. The channel is actually as recently celebrated its 4th anniversary, so it's already another birthday in here. I have reviews, video reviews coming. These are not new reviews, let's say. These are excerpts from the monthly review episodes. So sometimes, and you may have noticed, in the monthly review episodes, I tend to cut a lot. And that's because I end up going on big tangents in there. And I'm going to bring those big tangents, of course, structured and everything, so not to bore you. But I'm going to bring those rants that I have about some CDs into full-fledged video reviews. So some of the monthly review episodes, I have already been working on some of those reviews to add to the channel. I have already 6 or 7 ready to be unleashed, basically. And if you watch the monthly review episodes, it's not going to be necessarily new, but right now you are going to have the reviews isolated from the episode. So if you want to return to those, you can already go just for that specific episode or that specific video about that specific CD. So I'm going to make things a bit easier for you if you want to return to anything, and I'm going to make that things easier for people actually navigating the website as well. If they don't want to read a really long review by me, and maybe they want a video review, I'm going to add the video review in there. So I'm not going to do any kind of new content in there. I'm just going to use what I created and add what I cut from the final video of the monthly review, basically. So those are going to come. And then we have on the website, I'm reviewing music. I've said this before. ML, sorry, I still haven't reviewed Phantasmagoria. But I'm going to review a couple of CDs. I do have those in queue. And I have been trying to at least reserve 1 hour per week to review music. It's not much, but for digital singles, for example, I can review 3 or 4 in an hour. And in that way, I can work on my backlog, which is gigantic right now. It has over 60 CDs from last year and already 30 CDs from this year. So it is a lot of music that I have in backlog. But then again, it is because I don't have that much free time at the moment. So let me drink a little bit. My throat is giving up on me, so let's see how long I can keep up. So yeah, I've seen some people saying that I've dropped Aopella. I haven't dropped Aopella. I just haven't found the time to review Aopella. Same thing with other franchises. Once again, I work a 9-to-5 job. Today, actually, I have a free afternoon on a Friday, so I can use that free afternoon from my job to actually come here for the live stream, but usually I don't have the free time to do so. So you need to understand that I'm doing this thing of reviewing music, creating the videos, creating the podcast on my free time, and I don't have too much free time. So please be a bit patient, because I'm going to review, I just don't know when. And the only franchises which I have openly said I'm not reviewing music, it's Utapri and Ensemble Stars. And that's because I've said already, fan behavior towards me. So that's basically that. And the other franchises, if I'm not reviewing, either it's because they are EDM, or maybe I'm not reviewing because I arrived so late and there's so many songs to review that it's no longer manageable for me to actually do it. For example, Skuta. I'm not going to review a massive backlog. It's crazy. I can't. It's impossible. So there are a couple of things that come into play. So if I start reviewing something from a franchise, I'm going to continue to review it. So you just have to wait a bit, please. Have a bit of patience, and the music will arrive in due time. I know that you are excited about reading my insights, and sometimes I'm I try to make myself review music more frequently, especially for the monthly review episodes, but I really can't review everything because there's a lot of music, and while you listen to a song and the song takes 3 minutes for you to listen to, for me it's 3 minutes to listen, 9 minutes to listen to it again twice or thrice, and then 30 minutes to write, listen to music again, and then review again. So a song that is 3 minutes long can take me as long as 1 hour or 2 hours to review. It's a lot of time. So it doesn't seem like it because you read the review and the review maybe takes 1 or 2 minutes to read, but I actually took sometimes 1 hour to write it or more. There are some reviews that I took 9 hours to review. The big example in here it's basically Soma Saito's In Bloom and Soma Saito's My Beautiful Valentine. I took 9 hours to review each CD because I needed to check sources, check books, read some interviews to basically make sense of some things, and then listen to the songs again, and then listen to the CD from start to finish because the story was completely different from what I thought. So there's a lot of work going in the background, so please be patient. I will arrive to those reviews, and when I arrive to those reviews, I will make sure that you get at least something that is interesting for you to read. Of course, my impressions of a song may not be the same that you have, and in that way, there are sometimes people that don't enjoy my reviews that much because I'm not as positive as they thought I would be, but the reviews will arrive in due time. If I don't like something really a lot, I will not review, just to avoid backlash. That's just my rule of thumb to avoid negative commenters. Yeah. And yeah, LL, it takes a lot of time to create a podcast episode and a lot of time to create reviews or to write reviews. Yeah, Grace, right now I need to overcome these thing with hay fever because it's messing me up. So yeah, reviews are coming, but slow, but they are coming. So do not worry. When I find some time, when I have a bank holiday or something like that, the reviews will come. So yeah, we are going to arrive. Basically, we are getting close to the end of this episode. I have 30 minutes to fill. I still have a couple of corners in here. So let's see how it flows. In some way, I'm not seeing so many questions going on in the chat, but still awesome to have you in here commenting and following along what is happening. So I'm going to go to the next section, but please, if you have any questions, do leave those in there. I'm going to answer those when I wrap up any of these answers. So right now, I'm going to cover the questions that I asked you to make me in the survey. And there were a couple of questions made in there. One of those about the theme that I said I was not going to talk about, but I'm going to cover it for the very last time in this episode. So let's see how it works. So Faustus asks or says, so many questions I want to ask, but I wanted to ask this particular question. It may be a bit private or rude or offensive, or it's maybe not best to answer, but I want to ask, what is your opinion on SEIYUU getting bunshund, or rather getting caught in scandals? I wonder what happens with SEIYUU that go through those. I've heard some have returned to their careers, but how have SEIYUU that have gone through them commonly fared? I'm very sorry for asking this type of question, and thank you very much regardless of whether you'd be answering them or not. I'm going to answer, and I'm going to answer these from a really neutral way, because you can get in trouble for basically answering in a way or another, because fans will go crazy or I may be sued. So let's try to get to a really interesting middle ground. So let's keep these really, really simple. SEIYUU getting caught in scandals, it's because right now the industry has changed. Scandals existed since the dawn of time, but they weren't really on TV, on magazines. Why? Because SEIYUU were not popular. Right now SEIYUU are approached or seen as superstars, as pop stars, almost as idols basically. And what does that bring with fame? Basically, when fame arrives, paparazzi arrive, crazy fans arrive, crazy people arrive, scandals surface. Usually it's how things work. If you are really famous, people will follow you around, the news will want to know everything you do, and things that would normally happen turn into big ass scandals. That's the bottom line in there. So the industry has changed so much to the point that now what SEIYUU usually did but wasn't reported now is reported and now turns into a massive scandal, because right now not only Japanese fans see that happening, but also international fans see that happening. So the scale is much bigger and the craziness is even bigger. So that's the bottom line in there. So SEIYUU basically being caught in scandals, it's because right now they are seen as superstars and now they have more eyes than ever on top of them. So that's something that they really can't control, and perhaps they were doing that back then when SEIYUU were not really popular. But the fact that you see more and more that happening, it's because those SEIYUU are seen more and more like stars, and fans have a demand for content about that specific SEIYUU, and as such, magazines and websites that live for clicks, that live for ads, they need to bring people in. How do they bring people in? By giving what people want. That's scandals. The scandals were happening way before SEIYUU were popular. They weren't just televised or mentioned. That's the big idea in here. At the same time, what happens to SEIYUU that basically go through scandals? Some of those lose their jobs automatically, especially if they are not as popular. If they are really popular, sometimes they get a grace period in which people pretend nothing happened and they go their merry way. There are times in which the SEIYUU is so popular and so powerful due to their connections that they don't lose their job and they continue to do their job without a problem. A good example of that is Daisuke Namikawa and Nobuhiko Akamoto. They have really good connections in the industry. That's why their scandals quickly faded away, and they didn't lose their jobs. They didn't face any kind of repercussions. So that's a completely different thing. So if you have the connections, usually you don't have any kind of problems. It gets televised, it appears on the magazines, people backlash, some fans stop being fans, they continue their merry way doing their job. In some way, I can understand why this happens. Because in some way what happened was in their private life and their work is their public life. So there's two different things in here. But that's law going on in there. In some way, we have SEIYUU that doesn't happen anything to them. In other ways, there are SEIYUU that are sued, but we do not know because that's not televised, because that's boring, and especially for magazines and websites that live off of scandals. For them, it is something that they basically look at it and think, well, this doesn't give us clicks, so why bother? So sometimes you do not know when SEIYUU were sued on when they reached settlements. That's something, once again, that's law. And in some way, they may be replaced in projects, or they may have their contracts revoked, or their contracts will not be renewed when they are up for renewal. And sometimes those SEIYUU end up going freelance. Going freelance is not easy. Some SEIYUU have deliberately gone freelance because they didn't want to pay fees, and this time around I'm not talking about scandals. SEIYUU in general, when they go freelance, it's because they want to earn more money than they were earning when they were working for a talent agency. Now imagine a SEIYUU that was really popular because of a talent agency, was basically being another name added to theirs, and they now face the ridiculous point in which they do not have that backing. They need to go freelance, and no one wants to work with them because their name is tainted in some way. In some way, people will say they did that to themselves, so it's their problem to deal with. But in another way, I think that when they go freelance after a scandal, they basically seal their careers as an end. They are appearing, but how frequently? In comparison to the money they were earning before, how much money they are earning right now? Probably not much. If they actually were smart before the scandals and made money and saved the money, right now they may be having really good lives, let's say. But if they didn't, they may completely disappear, and sometime you may find them at a cash register at a McDonald's or whatever. So it may happen. So that's another thing that may happen. Now, to wrap up this corner, because I don't want to talk about too much about these, I don't want to be sued. I don't want fans to take things out of context out of my conversation. So let's keep this thing straight. Scandals are exposing the private lives of SEIYUU, not their public. Their public is their work. Their private, it's what they do when they are not working, when they are home with their family, with their friends, whatever. What happens with their family and friends, it's not for us fans to know. Their friends, their family needs to know that, not us. We are fans of their work, their private persona. It's not our focus, it's the public persona. So I think that we need to separate here what we support. That's why I usually tend to say that I like the music that a voice actor creates. I like their voice. I like their technique. But I won't defend them to the end of dawn because I don't know them personally. That's a simple thing. I don't know them personally. I may be talking about how amazing my favorite voice actors are, but in private, they may be the biggest a-holes in life, and I don't know. So I'm not going to defend them. I'm going to support their work, and if I feel that they are really talented as voice actors, as singers, I'm going to support the work. I'm not going to support the person, let's say, because I don't know them personally. I know that this is really difficult to draw a line in here and know what you are supporting, and this can get you backlash from other fans, because why are you still supporting that specific voice actor, or listening to their singing, or watching the anime they were in because they did this and that? Let's say, just because they did something really stupid, it doesn't take away the fact that they are really talented as voice actors. They just did something really stupid in their private life that ended up being exposed. And what was exposed, believe it or not, what is exposed by those type of media like Bushun is the private life. And private life exposed is still private. So if you talk badly about those SEIYUU, they can sue you for slander. So have that in mind, because if they want, they can basically sue you for slander. So be careful about that. And that's the most I'm going to talk about this topic. I'm never going to cover it again. So thank you very much for the question, Faustus, but this is really something that is really sensitive, and not many people have the calm to talk about this and look at this rationally. They will instantly backlash, instantly attack without seeing the two sides of the things, and actually understanding the law behind. Because I'm talking from a point in which I can be comfortable about law, because I'm a law graduate. I worked as a paralegal, so I know a little bit of this, but I don't know Japanese law, so I can't talk further about this, and I'm going to avoid talking further about this because I don't want to be sued. So yeah, you make a good point, Ginny. I remember Umehara apologized for his marriage being publicized because a paparazzi followed him in his private life. That's crazy. And it is happening. And, for example, if you follow the 81 Produce on Twitter, you will notice that from time to time, 81 Produce releases a press release saying, please don't follow our talents to their workplace, don't follow them from their workplace to their house, and don't wait for them at the doors of the recording studios. This happens a lot. You already have fans following SEIYUU in ways that are really dangerous. This is crazy people actually looking to start something really, really awful. And if you have crazy fans and then crazy paparazzi behind them, SEIYUU are actually living hell while giving us their work. I feel that this is a really sad thing to say, but yeah, they give us joy, entertainment with their work. And even if they don't have scandals, for example, Umehara was just dating someone and he had to announce that he was getting married or was married. But even when there are no scandals whatsoever, fans and media are trying to find dirt on SEIYUU, and they no longer can be carefree around cameras. They are really wary of cameras, and that really ruins the experience. If you haven't noticed, especially if you have been following SEIYUU since, let's say, 2010, SEIYUU back then were really crazy on events. Right now, it seems that they are controlling their image. Beyond one or two SEIYUU that are really crazy in any context, most SEIYUU feel that they are controlling their image. They are really wary of the cameras, not because the cameras are recording them in an event, but because they may have really bad situations with people using cameras to record their life, to follow them, to whatever. So you have that as well. So it's really messed up, and I think that this thing with paparazzi and crazy fans only happens because SEIYUU were elevated to idols when they were just voice actors. They were just using their voice. And I remember Hikaru Midorikawa saying, when he was back then in the 90s, he said that it was crazy people recognizing him on the street because he was used to voicing characters in anime and no one recognized him. And now people recognize him everywhere. And in the 90s, he started to notice that because he was part of an idol group, one of the very first successful idol groups, EMU, and he found that it was crazy that people were now recognizing him on the street, and he started to notice that he couldn't be as comfortable around because he didn't know who actually knew him or were going to report something or were going to say something. So it's crazy, but it comes with the territory right now. SEIYUU are aware that if they want to become stars, they are going to deal with that. And if they behave badly in their private lives, they are going to have that exposed. Simple as that. So they need to be smart and not do stupid things to ruin their careers when it is so hard to get into voice acting. Doing something in their private lives that ends up leading to them being cancelled is just a waste of talent, basically. In my view, it's a waste of talent. So yeah, we have that comment, and we have as well a question here by Jeannie. Jeannie, I see you in the comments, so I'm going to answer your question here. So what made you decide to start the channel about seiyus and their music? I've already answered this in some way. So it was because the channel is a reply or a complement to the website, and I wanted to have a more visual presentation and in some way connect with you much better than just writing a review and people leaving a like in the review, and I don't even know what people thought about the review beyond the like, because a like is good to have. And now I'm going to be shameful and say, please leave a like below. But yeah, a like is really something that is interesting to find. But beyond that, really, I'm expecting someone to write something, and people were not writing something, and I didn't know if is the review right? Are people actually finding this interesting? I don't know. So I thought that video content was a better way to gauge that and to understand if you are actually finding the content interesting, if you are actually following what I'm saying, if you connect with what I'm saying, if we are in the same wavelength, which is really awesome. So that's how I basically started the channel. It was an extension of the website and a way for me to have a visual presentation of the content that I already created, and a way to challenge myself as a content creator to create video and create a podcast. And to talk about seiyuu and music, it's because those are two of my passions, so I wanted to actually talk about that and try to convert people to like what I like. That's basically that. And to wrap up, I'm bringing here a comment by ML, and I'm going to then answer your question, Grace, so I'm going to answer it. ML said in the survey, I'm not sure how much work one of these videos is, but now that Yumeirocast announced a revival, I'm so excited. Yes, I want to know how much is going to be the price of the game, because I want to get it. It would be amazing to see an episode of a guide to Yumeirocast, like those you did for Bandiarose and Dig Rock, for example. Yeah, those videos take almost 2 to 3 months to create, because they are documentary style. It's crazy how much work goes behind one of those videos, how much I had to edit, and they still sound and look a bit amateurish. But yeah, I need to research, I need to find images to use, I need to find bits of video, bits of the gameplay in case the project has a game, and I need to put that all together in a cohesive way to present it to you, and then I need to do voiceover. So that's a lot of work. That's a big reason why I stopped creating those videos, was basically my lack of free time. But I want to return to those when I have a bit more time, and I want to create something for YouMitoCast for sure. One, because I do love this project a whole lot. Two, because it is back. And three, because I want more people to enjoy YouMitoCast. So I really want to create one, but I can't promise when, because I'm really busy at the moment. But yeah, I want to cover that in some way and create a guide. I really enjoyed creating those. Let's say I took a lot of time to create those, but I really had a lot of time creating them, because it's a different style of editing from the one that I use usually, and it requires a different kind of approach, because I'm simultaneously creating the script for the video to set it up as a documentary, and then at the same time I'm creating the article that is going to drop on the website. So I'm doing a double job in there before even creating anything or recording anything. So yeah, I want to return to those videos, and that's something that really pains me, is not continuing to create those videos, because I was having a lot of fun with those, but I will try to return to those as soon as possible. So don't worry, I want to return to those. I just can't promise when. But let's say before the end of the year, at least before the end of the year. So yeah, I see you and welcome. I'm going to create a video about this. So yeah, in some way, Grace has a question. I have a weird question, if you don't mind. Let's say, let me drink a bit because my throat is hurting a lot. Is there any collaboration between male SEIYUU that happened only once or a few times, but it was so amazing you wish for more? Yeah, there are a couple of collaborations. Let's say, for example, there was a project, I don't recall the name right now. There was a project in which Wataru Hatano and Tatsuhisa Suzuki performed together. It was back in the day. I don't recall the name. Damn it. But it was really, really good. And I would love to see them collaborating in some way. But because right now Tatsuhisa Suzuki is not really viewed in a good light in the industry, I don't believe that will happen anytime soon. At the same time, I loved when Congrats was released, Yumochida's song featuring almost all is Nikokai friends, and I would love to see him collaborating with in a song. I would love to see him collaborating with Soma Saito in some way, because I found their voices to work really well together in there, as well as with Full Throttle 4. So their voices work really well together, so I would love to see and hear them work together again and do something really specific for them, instead of a 2D music project or performing in a song in which there are 8 people singing. So I would love to see something a bit different in there. In some way, let's see what I would love to see or hear. Collaborations that happened once or a few times. There aren't many, I believe. But for example, crazy collaborations that I would love. I would love for in these worlds would clash, and I believe fandoms would start a war. But still, since I'm not part of either fandom, I'm a fan of the projects. I would love to see Paradox Live and Hypnosis Mike collaborating, or doing a versus series with the two projects going at each other. It would be interesting to show different sides to hip hop, to show different skills, and to actually have the stakes really high in a performance, instead of the comfort, in some way, a comfort that each fandom has in their own specific place. That would be a crazy collaboration that would break the internet, I believe. So yeah, I would love for that to happen, but that has never happened, and I believe they want to actually avoid that, because fans will start to go at each other, because fans of Paradox, some fans are really vocal about not liking Hypnosis, and Hypnosis fans are really vocal about not liking Paradox. So yeah, but if people like me enjoy both projects, they will be thinking it would be awesome to have both collaborating, because that's hip-hop in there, and hip-hop is about collaborations. Hip-hop is about dissing as well, so it would be interesting to find dissing in some way, but politely. So I would love to see that, but I believe that won't happen day soon. So yeah, that's wishful thinking going on in there. So yeah, I believe that would be that. In some way, I would love, for example, for the Bandia Rose franchise to collaborate once again with the From Argonavis franchise. In some way, I feel that if the project is going to be barely alive in the side of Bandia Rose, at least that they make it so that they can sell the rights to Osiris and Blessed, for example, to From Argonavis, and let them basically take care of them, because I feel that the collaboration was really, really awesome in the live show that happened earlier this year, and I would love to see more Osiris and, for example, Phantom Iris collaborating. That would be crazy. That's two of the greats in visual kei music, in 2D music right now, so I would love to see more of that happening. And please give me that. I want that, especially more Osiris, because I love that band to bits. So yeah, that's my answer in there to your question, Grace. I hope I answered it correctly or in some interesting way. I'm seeing Unwelcome here saying Yumochi and Sumasato are my top SEIYUU, and I would like to hear as artists more than to the music projects, but still work. Yeah, that would be awesome. Trignal and Nobuhiko Okamoto. Yes, ML, that was awesome. Nobunagal, it was amazing. One of the craziest collaborations that I actually enjoyed. Another, now that you remind me, another one that I loved a whole lot, Tetsui Kakihara and Nobuhiko Okamoto. That was amazing. I loved that CD a lot. So, yes, please. Tetsuya Kakihara, Nobuhiko Okamoto, and Trignal. Yes. Two of the best collaborations that Kiramune created. So yeah. Bye, ML. Bye. Thank you very much for joining, and I'll see you in the VOD. But yeah, the Argonavis franchise is really cool. I'm not as big of a fan of Argonavis as a group, but because they have a pop rock style of sound, it's not really my thing. But Gyrowaxy is amazing. Phantom Iris is even more amazing. So I do enjoy those two bands, and I have more to check within the franchise, with Stray Side especially. So yeah, this was basically everything that I had in here. But before we go, I have a challenge for all of you that are here, because we are coming close to the end of this episode, and I'm already stretching out this episode a lot. So yeah, I leave you with a big challenge in here, so I want you to help me with these. Right now, I'm a bit far from getting into the YouTube partner program. I need a couple of viewing or watch hours of the content that I have. So my challenge to you is to help me with the viewing hours, because I cannot view my own content, because that doesn't work like that. So if you can, and you actually want to support me, please watch the episodes that I have here on the channel. Let those play from start to finish, because that helps a lot getting those watch hours to try to apply to YouTube's partner program and try to get some money out of the work that I do, because right now I'm paying to work at the hand that feeds HQ. It's crazy, even with patrons helping and even with ads on the website, but still I earn 70 euros per 4 years of ads. I don't even get 10 euros per year. It's ridiculous right now. So I'm not earning that much money, and I'm paying to work at the hand that feeds HQ. So I would love to change that a little bit to start getting some money out of the videos that I create without you having to pay for that. So if you can help in some way, please watch the videos that I have on the channel. Leave a playlist playing in the background. Let the videos play until the end. What fits you better? That would help me a lot to get those watch hours and to try to apply for the partner program. The followers, I see the channel growing every day, so I believe those will happen naturally. But right now, the hours don't seem to come any soon. So that's a big struggle here on the channel, and a big reason why I'm not earning any money whatsoever. So yeah, if you can and want to lend me a hand in these, I would fully appreciate it. It would be an amazing gift for the channel or the project itself, because the Hand That Feeds HQ turns 14 years in August, so that would be a really awesome goal, and if we get, or if the channel gets into the YouTube partner program, I will create live streams of some sort to celebrate that around that time, if we get that around that time. So you have until August to complete this challenge if you want to help me in these. Share the channel with other people, watch the videos if you want, help me in some way. That would be awesome. Let's see here. Yes, Ginny, thank you very much. You have my back. I'm going to create really good content that make you want to actually watch it, instead of me saying, please watch it. But yeah, if you can help in some way, that would be really, really cool, and it would help me a lot. So I leave you with that challenge, and I would love to return to this in August and say, you guys helped me complete the challenge, and I'm going to celebrate with another live stream, one in which I'm not echoing like crazy at the start. So yeah. You have until August to complete this challenge. In the meantime, I'm going to create really good content for you, so do not worry. And right now, it's time to say goodbye. Thank you very much to everyone for joining me, the newcomers, the ones that are a bit more shy, and everyone that is a regular commenter, and even you that are watching this episode on VOD. Thank you very much for watching this episode and for being around, for supporting this project, and for being here for SEIYUU Lounge, for actually dealing with me going geeky, crazy in some episodes, and grinning like crazy when I watch or listen to music that I really, really love, and for actually engaging with me in the comments and sharing your stories, sharing your views, and having fun. And thank you very much for creating such a safe and awesome community here on YouTube. It's really something that I was not expecting to happen, but it's something that I value a whole lot. So thank you very much for being here and being a part of these. And I say that it is the end of this episode. So thank you very much for watching this episode. Thank you very much to ML and Welcome, Yuri, Jeannie, LL, and even Bungee Gum, and Grace for joining. Thank you very much for joining this episode. I believe I haven't forgotten anyone, but yeah, thank you very much for joining and for sticking around for this long episode. It is awesome to see you here. I was expecting 1 or 2 people to come, and actually I had 7 people from start to finish. It's really, really awesome. So thank you very much for being around, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. It's a good one. I'm not going to spoil the next episode. I have a whiteboard in here with the name of the episode, but I'm not going to spoil it. Wait for it, because it is going to be a really good episode. So I'll see you guys soon. Thank you very much for coming, and I'll see you next Friday.